What's good, everybody? This is Y and Z, a conversation between the generations. I represent the Y, aka the millennials. Jay Clark, that young whippersnapper over there, that's the Z. Xavier Lewis, my brother, my young brother. How are you this week?
Man, I'm doing quite well, man. Everything is everything what it is. We're in April. Crazy first 91 days of the well, what? No, maybe like 90 first 90 days, but maybe 91 because we had that leap day. So crazy first 91 days of the year, man. It's who
Sir,
knows what the rest of this year is gonna go.
you and this counting of all these milestones in your life that I saw your status about 90 days,
Hey, man.
18 days,
Hey,
this 47 or whatever it was days for man, you just keeping track, huh?
got to, man, because it's all one day closer to me being a millionaire.
Uh,
So hey.
hey, don't forget the little people when you get there. Uh, All this show is a conversation between the generations. Like, share, subscribe. You got something you want us to talk about, holla at us. But in mentioning days, it has been 6 days since the release of Cowboy Carter.
Okay.
I'm gonna just ask you, just sir, what are your thoughts on this revolutionary, groundbreaking, inspirational, genre-bending, industry-breaking project?
So I haven't listened to it yet,
What?
and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
There are two distinct fan groups that I like to steer clear away from. That is the Beehive and that is the Barbs, which is Nicki Minaj fans. And
Uh-huh.
they're just both very passionate about their respective artists. And I'm not saying that I won't ever listen to it because I will. I just needed for it to die down a little bit because I'm afraid to voice opinions about it at the behest of pitchforks and fire and brimstone raining down upon all of my social media accounts. So, and of course, the two that I did listen to, of course, was the two that she released during the Super Bowl, which
Uh-huh.
was Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages. I most definitely did enjoy 16 Carriages, so because it was more of that ballad style, it was very, very on point with what country music is, a
Mhm.
story told, a sad story told, to not much music, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I haven't listened to the whole project but from what I've been hearing, it's exactly the description you gave. I'm just like, what is on this album that is so life-changing and industry breaking that probably hasn't been done before?
Okay. So number one, I was being slightly sarcastic there.
I hope so because I was just like,
I'll just go ahead and get the pitchforks out. Fuck the beehive. I have, I have issues. And and here's why. So we won't, since you haven't listened to it, we won't go too deep into this album, but I listened to it. It's a good album. It's a good album. And this is from someone who realizes he's not Beyonce's target demo. Like I'm not, I'm a fan of Beyonce for several reasons, but I also don't have a lot of Beyonce in my playlist library.
no.
So like I don't go like I know I'm not the target demo. So like Renaissance was like, okay, y'all. But again, I'm not going to disparage anybody from enjoying it. My problem is the Bayhive has gotten to a point where they overhype and make things so big sometimes that you completely miss what she did. And
Right, right.
the biggest issue with this album is this whole referendum of Beyonce charging in the country and going to disrupt doors and all this kind of stuff, which she never said. Like off top, we can all agree it's not a country album, it's a Beyonce album, and that's what Beyonce has said. Now there are country influences and some sonics, but it's really a mishmash of genres. Like it's a mishmash of all types of things. But like I said, sonically it's good. The biggest thing to me was these are some of the best Beyonce vocals we've probably heard, like because
In
of
a long time.
a long time. Like she is singing, and I was like, yes, I was like, I am here for that. As I've stated before, I love a female vocal, and so yes, Beyonce was giving vocals like she hasn't truly given in a while. And unfortunately, the Bayhive has taken this and has gone over the moon. Like the whole bringing back Black country thing.
It never left. It's just black people never supported black country because it wasn't your favorite artist.
We don't support it in mass. Let's put it that way.
Right, right.
And so there were some choices made with this album, which I can't, it's not a perfect album because there are some, to me, there are some questionable choices. One, you'll see on social media a lot of people like, oh, she's putting people like Tanner Adele and what starts with the S, Shabuzi and Willie Jones and like Brittany Spencer and all these black country artists on. Problem number one, all the black women are on the same song. And it's actually getting more highlight for being a Beatles cover than anything. Like so and there were some choices made, which makes me question who is this album for? Because surprisingly to me, there were two songs that I took from the project and added to my rotation. And they were the two songs, if I looked at the track list, I was like, ain't no damn way I'm adding these two to the playlist. They were Levi's Jeans with Post Malone, and I can't stand Post Malone.
Really?
Two Most Wanted with Miley Cyrus, which I don't have hate for Miley Cyrus, but that's just, once again, that's not
Not
my.
your target, isn't yeah, you're not a target.
And those were my two favorite songs on the pro. Like they were solid. I have them in rotation on playlists. Like I am listening to those two songs. But it's like choice. Those were choices to put those artists on those songs. Like she's got Willie Jones on a track, which was okay. But I think I would have rather heard Willie Jones on this Levi's Jeans. I think it would have worked better. But it kind of goes. I want to know what really is Beyonce's intention with this album. It can't be just to bring black to the forefront because while she has a bunch of black musicians and black artists on there are some choices like Post Malone and Miley Cyrus, which just makes me wonder. Oh, you're those are strictly programming marketing choices trying to break into some areas. But you're Beyonce. Do you really need to do that? There's just a lot with this album.
It's very interesting to see
Yeah,
what is going like, and art is art, right? And it's so easy, and we see it mostly like Jordan Peele movies, where Jordan Peele will be like, "I didn't mean for that to be interpreted as such."
right, right.
But y'all did. And that's the same way. It's just so much room for open interpretation about what her background, like what is her purpose of this album. It almost seemed very random. Like you dropped two country songs from a commercial you did for from the soup.
Right.
It was like strategic, but it was still random. It
Yeah.
was still very random in the way it was presented and the way it was just like, oh my God, Beyonce doing country. And it was like, because Renaissance, it was like futuristic cowboy attire-ish, everybody looking like aluminum foil.
Renaissance was house. And so she took back house. Now she's taking back country, but she's not really taking back country because it's not a pure country album. It's as people said, it's a Beyonce album. And unfortunately, I kind of hate that narrative a little bit because all the sonic she chose and what she did makes sense, especially with her background. Like, yeah, I almost hate that they're putting more onto it than it feels like there needs to be. And like you said, unfortunately, the interpretation people are taking, there's room for that because Beyonce don't say much about the music. And so it's almost like she's leaving people
Nope.
this room for interpretation, and the Bayhive is running with it, and it gets annoying because
Almost definitely. I mean, the even just the cover art. I mean, like you said, her on the horse with the American flag and all that. Like this
um,
idea that Beyonce is this revolutionist for black country music is that's a very very obscure view of it.
yeah, and I'm glad to see the effect that it's having with some of these other artists. Like I'm glad people are diving into like a Tanner Adele or Brittany Spencer, or even Willie Jones. Um, I
Right? Because we all agree that those artists are deserving and they do deserve some form of attention.
mhm.
But, like you said, it's still not very clear about what the intentions are.
It's almost she's trying to. It's almost like she's trying to do too much. Because I'm be honest, 27 tracks too at the same like it's a little bloated. It's a little bloated. Some
It's
of the
how long?
27 tracks, it clocks in at just under 79 minutes. So that's an hour and 19 minutes. It's just about an hour 20. And then some like unfortunately some of the songs are that's that minute, just barely 2 minutes. So there's a lot of fluff and filler. Like so some like and once and that's my problem with the Black Women song. I don't mean to call it that, but Blackbird Blackbird is a Beatles song originally, which was done by Paul McCartney to Black women in civil rights. Excellent. Great for you to cover, Beyonce. But for you to cover it and also try to showcase other Black women artists, you're putting four people on a 2 minute song. It's almost like you couldn't space that out a little bit. You didn't want to give Britney her own shine on her own duet with you, like maybe you did Miley. You didn't want to give Tanner her own like it's almost like she did it
So
just
you telling me four people plus Beyonce is on how long is that song actually? Because I
211.
gotta do the math.
211.
That's not even 30 seconds a person.
And so it's like I said, it's a good album. Good album. It's probably one of the Beyonce albums I've enjoyed most in a while. But once again, not target demo that don't what does that mean? But yeah, four
The question is not
actually
about
no,
the validity of
it's
the
five singers on it because it's Beyonce plus these four other artists. So
right. That's what I'm
five
saying. That's what I'm saying. That's not even 30 seconds a person.
no. And so once
So
again,
the thing is,
what is your point with some of these
right.
and choices? Because these are choices that you did make. Like the symbolism of that is great. But really, it's just like, hey, yeah, I put them on. I put them on. I put them on.
Because we're not questioning the validity of the album. We're just questioning the purpose behind the choices.
Some of the choice. I personally would like to know, but once again, solid album. Like I said, I took two songs and put them in my playlist. It's interesting. Let's do a slight shift here. It's interesting to see Beyonce in this phase of her career because she's
You never would have thought it.
not even that. It's she's 30 years in the game essentially, and she is an elder statesman in the game. She has no peer right now. She's tops of tops. It's interesting, especially in comparison to I'd probably say who is her male peer in this similar space, being Usher. How they've taken two different paths in this later stage, and I would say one is succeeding better than the other. Usher is out here still trying to make some contemporary stuff to actually mainstream hit type of stuff. While Beyonce, if you look at it, for the past 8 years, has been on this more narrative driven music, which is an interesting choice. Doesn't always hit, but it's allowed her to create some space to where she's not necessarily chasing mainstream success and
Not
go
anymore. I think Beyonce, if I were just like look into her thought processes, I would think more that whatever's going on in her mind is like, whatever I do from now on, it's just gonna be for me. Like I understand I have a target audience, but even if it doesn't resonate with, I mean, but I think she's built so much loyalty with her target audience that no matter what she does, they're gonna support it. Like, not everybody can say that. Not everybody can say that whatever I put out, I'll have a solid group of individuals that's going to support it. So I think at this point in her career, she's most definitely just in that headspace of it's whatever I want to do.
which is
And that's
interesting.
a very free place.
Well, because no artists don't usually get here.
No,
We've seen artists be able to extend their careers more than ever in these last 10 years simply because of social media and how that works and things becoming more silo based where it's not about what I do, it's more about building my fan base. But really, no artist has ever been to this place where it's literally, yeah, I'm just kind of free to create what I want to create because I'm such a big name that people will follow.
right.
Off jump, maybe a Ray Charles, because Ray Charles did the country album back in the day. But still not to the same extent. Even 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 the GOAT, Michael Jackson, which he didn't get there because of controversy.
Right, right.
And so, but
For
really,
the most part, Beyonce has kept
and
her image pure, clean. She's she's taken advantage of every social chain, like her doing the Lemonade album and showing so much female resistance during the time of the Me Too movement. Just so much like she has literally fed in to everything that's been happening and capitalizing on it in the sense of this might not be my highest grossing album, but it expanded and fermented my fan base.
right. It's an interesting run. And like I said, overall, Cowboy Carter, definitely give it a listen. It's a little bit of a long listen. Gets a little tiring sometimes, but overall, it's a very solid.
I might have to listen to it over 3 days.
It it moves kind of quick. 'Cause like I said, it's 27 tracks. But if I count real quick, it's one, no, let's see, you got like three interludes because you got like two with Willie Nelson and one with Dolly Parton. So that takes it down to 24. Then you take out the short stuff. So like Desert Eagle is super short. Louisiana is super short. Oh, there's another interlude with Little Martell, so that's 23. And then if I so you're really down to like 19, 18 song, which is still long. But like I said, a good chunk of those are kind of short and like it's that space. But yeah, when you get the chance, check it out. But also, apparently tomorrow she's supposed to be announcing her tour, and people are like, no, they don't want that.
See, and this is the perfect segue into what I want to talk about today.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Xavier D. Lewis. I'm a 21-year-old living in the year of 2024, also known as the age of inflation. And I just want to say, while I do understand, and I'm talking to all artists. I'm not just talking to even in music industry. I'm talking to comedians and people who want to just do a tour this year. Can I beg of you? Can some of you pick to do a tour doing Q3 or Q4? Like I'm just very unpleased with how Q2, April, May, and June is just filled with tours and tours and tours. And you didn't even give us a whole lot of time to get our financial situations together to purchase the good tickets.
Just tickets ain't.
Why are tickets so high? Is it you got like, can we give some insight, comedians, musicians, whatever you may be? Can we get some? Is it these venues? Are
It's
they making y'all have these base prices? Is it y'all?
it's
Like, I understand you got bills to pay too, but we want to come and experience a live experience, but I just do not want to do it at the cost of my light bill. I just don't want to do that like that.
it's a lot of things. It's one, touring is is like the main revenue source for a lot of these artists now. Like that's where you can really bank in some money. You're not getting it from album sales like you used to. It's touring is really the place to do it. And so everybody's trying, it's no longer about the intimate shows. Like it's not about doing the 100 seater or the 200 seater. It's
Right.
all about trying to get these stadiums or the large
Jam packed out.
jam packed out. And that, yeah, this year is just like, because you got R&B money, you got Usher, you got Beyonce.
Beyonce about to announce her second one.
That's hers tomorrow. And like I said, these aren't no small, like these prices are going ridiculous. Like I remember I was like, oh, I didn't get to go to Usher, the Vegas residency. It was like, oh, okay, let's look into these shows, and tickets were already high. I heard after the Super Bowl they went even ridiculously high. So it's just like, okay, yeah, that I'm just not. It's just not gonna happen because as much as I want to go, I ain't dropping a grand on a seat. And
Right. That's the thing.
it's me and my wife, so that's 2 grand. It's then the babysitter. It's then the parking. It's that it all adds up. And I'm saying smooth right now. Like, gotta
Bruh,
be.
it's crazy. Like I would even say I love Kev on Stage. Kev on Stage did something so I think was really good during the pandemic. He would sell tickets to a virtual comedy show.
Yeah, yeah.
Cheaper, still great content, felt like you were there. I don't know if these artists need to start offering that object of a virtual ticket or something like, but then I understand, you always run the risk of somebody can record it from home and then bam, it ruins the validity of it, all that good stuff. But I mean, people are putting whole shows on TikTok anyway. But my thing is, it's just a lot. And then on top of that, because a small portion of what people do is also merchandising, right? You're having limited merchandising products available at the show. So it's like you come there, you want to spend money on your seat, you want to spend money on, well, you got to have parking. And you want to have good parking, depending on where you stay at, right? You don't want to come out of the show and then you looking at glass all over your front seat and ain't nothing in your car. Or, you coming out and your car on bricks because they install your tires. And then you got all of these different things. And then, like I said, they'll have their own merchandise in there, all that kind of stuff. Merchandise that is not available online. Like you have to come to the show to get that
It's
specific merchandising.
experience.
It's just I'm just like
So it's
in this
interesting.
day and age, man, it's
So just for comparison, right? I was like, what's a good tour to look up? I was like, let me look up a hype tour from back in the day. Let's say the Jackson's Victory Tour
ooh, good tour.
back in '84. You want to guess how much a ticket was for the Jackson's Victory Tour in '84?
Maybe what, like $100?
$30.
What?
And the only requirement was you had to buy four. So you were getting four tickets,
For 120?
120. But what's crazy was back then that was at that was a high ticket price. But it's wild to see to go from something like $30 for one of the biggest groups of all time and biggest artists of all time in the midst of following
120 is barely getting you a nosebleed seat now.
that ain't getting you a seat in the parking lot.
That's wild.
Because then that's the other thing. You only can buy it through the one place, and you got fees on top of fees on like I was looking, I forget what show I was looking at to do a date night for me and the wife. And I was like, okay, these tickets aren't bad. I was like, I think they was like 70, 80 a pop. I was like, okay, that's not bad.
Right.
By the time I got through checkout, it was like $300.
Facility fees, all these different, and like I said, this is still not parking.
Not parking and everything else I got to do as a married man with a child. Like, because then it's like, okay, cool, that's 300 there. All right, let me tag on my babysitter. Let me tag on the food for the kid and the babysitter that night. Let me tag in the meal for me and the wife that night because you want to make it a good time. Let me tag in the parking. My wifey gonna get an outfit, of course. You know,
Right. You're gonna
why
want to buy a drink or two while you're there.
you're looking at a grand easy like that. That's just
Dead serious. It's what, man.
adds.
I went to, and I want to say just a huge shout out to cities like New Orleans because I went to a jazz bistro the other night, man, and it was crazy because I know I was the youngest. Well, I wasn't the youngest person there. It was like children in there too. And I paid like maybe 35 for the ticket. It's an hour and a half jazz show. 10 out of freaking 10 for less than $40.
Those are the shows I enjoy. Like I'm not.
It was I mean, it's very small, intimate, and the crazy thing is, you had the group that was advertised, but then another jazz artist snuck in there. She did two songs, like it was just so intimate. It was laid back, I'm looking at what these tour prices are. I'm just kind of like at this point, I'm gonna just I don't know. I'm gonna just thug it out.
It's
Just
a better experience. Like sometimes, honestly, I'm like, okay, you're going on tour. Like artists announces they're on tour. I look what kind of venue they're in, and it's sometimes if the venue's like super big, I'm like, nah, because unless you're getting that great floor seat, as much as the live experience
you
may,
might as well watch it through
yeah,
videos on somebody's phone.
yeah, or they do the concert film, like
Right, right,
because as much as we'd like to be in the place and to enjoy the ambiance. No, it's at some point the what I'm getting for what I'm paying doesn't equal out. Like
right. And then just to even go back to Beyonce right quick, Beyonce is a GOAT. Let me tell you why. Anytime you can get people to drop a bag to come to the concert, and then you get them to spend more money going to the movie theater to watch the concert that they already watched again is wild.
that's what you brought up earlier. That's it's not about her music. It's about who
No.
she is, her brand, and people, and that the Bayhive has bought in fully. Like on a business sense, I ain't mad. Like that's where everyone is trying to get, and unfortunately, it's sad.
Every business is
Trying to get
trying to get to that level of
everybody.
loyalty from their fan base.
Yeah, but hey, more power to them because it's certainly with me and my finances right now. Yeah, it
I mean, it's not that we can't afford it. It's just that is it worth it?
that it's the value proposition. Like part of me is in my head is like, okay, if I'm spending this much, you know,
Right.
especially if it's that like that's not like I'm not a Beyonce fan. I'm not gonna like Usher really is the main one I would maybe consider because it's like, yeah, I like a lot of songs in his catalog. Because Lord knows I don't want to be in a show that's an hour and a half long, and I'm not even enjoying most of the songs. Like I
You
need
see what
to,
I'm saying?
need to
Do you see what I'm saying, Clark? It's like, don't get me wrong. I will throw a few songs by these artists in my rotation,
Mhm.
but to sit and enjoy a whole live production is a whole different thing.
Yeah, yeah, very, very much so. It's Y and Z, the divide, conversation between the generations about who knows what. Because yeah, this is definitely not our wheelhouse necessarily. Uh, like, share, subscribe. If you got something you want us to, debate between the generations, see if there's a difference, see if there's similarities. Let us know. We'll gladly do so. We'll talk about anything. As you see, we just spent a good portion of the show on Beyonce and the Bayhive and ticket prices, and I'm sure I might get crucified for some opinions. Whatever. It is what it is. On the back half of the show, what we like to do is share some recommendations between one another, put each other on from different perspectives. And so, what I want to do, in similarity, since we've been talking about Beyonce and country music and yada yada, I'd like to put you on to Mickey Gupton. She is a country black. She's a black country artist,
Okay.
along the lines of Tanner Dell and whatnot. Her debut is what I call it. Her debut project, yeah, but her project, I think, is what a lot of people may be expected from Beyonce to an extent. Because when you talk like representing in country fully as a black woman, she does that surprisingly on her project. I remember the first time I was all like, "Oh, you okay? You stepping into some of this," and so I would definitely encourage check out her project. What's the, let me so I can give the full name.
Yeah, man. You got to give me that one.
Mickey Guyton. It's called "Remember Her Name." It was released in 2021, and easily the first how many tracks? Easily the first five are traditional country, but very black in subject matter. It was an interesting listen. I definitely had a couple songs from that. I definitely took a track called "Dancing in the Living Room." It's a nice couple slow jam country.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, definitely check out Mickey Guyton's project. Remember Her Name, especially if you're looking for that black in country music. So definitely, and since she didn't make it to Beyonce's album,
Right, right.
unfortunately, yeah, check that out. What you got this weekend?
Hey, man. So I just kind of talked about it, slightly. So if you're ever in the New Orleans area, I know a lot of people like coming to New Orleans to check out, Bourbon Street, check out the French Quarter, all that good stuff. But man, I'm telling you, Frenchman Street is where you're gonna really find that live jazz music. Is where you're really gonna find those little, hole in the wall plate. And I mean, they've come up over the years greatly. But one place that really has like stayed true to its roots is a place like I went to the other day. It's called Snug Harbor. And bro, like I said, 10 out of 10 in my eyes. If you're a lover of jazz music now, I know, like I said, for the most part of my generation, I'm the exception. You don't know a lot of 21-year-olds. It's just like, yeah, let's just go check out some, New Orleans jazz music or whatever. It's not that smooth jazz crap
No, so
that you might see at a fine dining restaurant. It's not that.
all smooth jazz ain't crap now. So there's smooth jazz has its own place too. Put some respect on smooth jazz name. I'm gonna give
I
credit to
mean,
I'm gonna give credit to your city though, because I think one of the beauties of it is even though New Orleans is a major city, it's still a small major city. And so I remember
right.
I and that magic does seem to happen there. So like I remember my wedding when because we got married in New Orleans.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And one of the nights before the wedding, I went out with my boys. And so one of my boys, he does comedy. And so I can't I just remember if you're looking at the waterfront, Bourbon is to the left,
Right.
French Quarter is to the left off that main street. We went to the right. So we went to some small hole in the wall bar, you know.
Yeah, you go with like, okay, I know what you're talking about.
They were having their, yeah, I guess a comedy open mic night. It's the first time I saw Tiffany Haddish. And we're talking
Really?
it's a room of like there was like maybe 12 to 15 of us in the crowd. My boy got up there, did his thing. Tiffany Haddish was up there doing it. And it's just like, didn't even know who Tiffany Haddish was at the time. This is like 2015.
Right.
This is right before she started to blow up. But it was like, there's magic in cities like that and some of these small venues where sometimes you just don't know what you're gonna get.
Right. I'm telling you, so like without a shadow of a doubt, what happened was it was so crazy. So I'm sitting there. This wasn't even advertised. She wasn't on the show bill. There was this young lady. I'm saying young lady, but this is the crazy thing. Her name was Jermaine Basil,
Mhm.
an older black lady. And they were like, yeah, it's her birthday today, so she's gonna come up and perform a song or two. And this was nothing rehearsed. Like she's just up there telling them what she want to do, and they going along with it. Like it's really so spontaneous, and I love that about it. And then at the end of the show, and they were like, "Yeah, it's her 92nd birthday," and I'm in the crowd like the lady up there moving, singing. I'm like, "Oh yeah, she a smooth 75." They said 92, and I was like, "Whoa."
So that black don't crack, boy. Black don't crack.
Man, and it was just so amazing to just sit in that atmosphere of individuals who were just as enthused by what was happening, right? You know what I'm saying? Because some crowds that you go to, especially like you say, those bigger venues,
You go in there to
yeah,
be
everybody.
be part of the experience. Like,
Right, right, right. But when you're intimate, man, and when I say it's snug, it is snug in there.
oh yeah,
But when it's intimate, man, it was just 10 out of 10. And another great thing that I loved about it, it's no recording, no flash photography policy.
oh yeah.
Like you come in, put the phones up. Like when this place started, wasn't no cell phones, and that's the way they're gonna keep going with it. And I'm actually, I was like, okay, I kind of actually like that because it keeps the integrity of the place, keeps people wanting to come in. And I just really love it. So if you're ever in the New Orleans area, you're looking to do something, that's different, a little bit off, I ain't gonna say off the beaten path per se, but you're just looking for something chill to do for an evening, grab a nice glass of wine. You don't have to be necessarily super formal or anything like that. Go check
A
out
hand
French.
grenade, boy. Get you a hand grenade and sit there.
Man, them hand grenades will mess y'all up. Y'all better watch. You better be ready for the worst hangover of your life.
Story
And
for
the thing is, it's not that it's just an incredible amount of liquor in it. It's the sugar. It's the sugar that's in a hand grenade that will really mess you up.
been there, done that. Got stories. Won't share them right now. This is Y and Z conversation between the generations. Check out those recommendations if it don't even gotta be New Orleans. Find that small spot in your
In
place.
your city, right? Wherever you at, you could be. I mean, you don't even have to be in a large major city or whatever. Just find that small or hole in the wall spot wherever you are and just take it in. You'll learn a whole lot more about where you are if you'll stop going to so many touristy places and try to find those little off the beaten path places.
Also makes for some good date nights. But again, those are tips for another show. Anyways, Y and Z conversation between the generations. Like, share, subscribe, follow. J Clark 787. That is Xavier Lewis, the real Lewis brand. You got so many. Is that the right one? I feel like I
Yeah,
get
no,
that.
it's Instagram is the real Xavier Lewis.
Yeah, that's one.
TikTok is the Lewis brand.
Yeah, that's the other.
So YouTube and TikTok is the Lewis brand, and
Okay,
then Facebook is just Xavier
gotcha.
Lewis.
Okay, yeah. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, this boy got all across the board. But that's what happens
Hey
when
man, I'm gonna tell you what I'm thinking about doing though, man. I'm thinking about getting like my first tattoo across my forearm that says the Lewis brand. I'm thinking about it for my 22nd, man. Hey, it's my birthday month. I forgot to say that. It's my birthday month. People better watch out. It's my birthday month. That's all I'm gonna say.
we got about 2-3 weeks before we get into all that. Um, but yeah, I guess early happy birthday because you're gonna celebrate all month. But anyway,
Oh, but and because my birthday is April 26th, it seeps over into Cinco de Mayo, which is a week later. So I'm just all over the place for the next few weeks.
gotcha. Well, I mean, that's life for you. You're young. Enjoy it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for every listen. Thank you for every subscribe. Thank you for every share. We appreciate it.
We do.
We do. Trust me, we do. And in the meantime, be safe and peace.
Peace.